Hey guys, how's it going today? Welcome to Precision Machine Shed. Today what I have going on is I bought myself an old Craftsman drill press. It's actually a Dunlap, but they're basically the same thing. And what I have here is the top spindle pulley on the spindle and the splined bushing that goes over the shaft. And what happened here is this spindle bushing and this pulley, they kind of spun around on each other. There's two flat spots that's supposed to cinch down here, and this guy spun around in there with the pulley, and what ended up happening was this wallowed out the inside of the pulley, and it wallowed out this shaft here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go on the Clausing, I think, and try to make a little bushing for that guy, see if we can't fix our little drill press. So hang tight. Alright, so here's our shaft, and the diameter of our main shaft here is 936 thousandths. And I put my dial indicator in here and ran this out to as close to zero as I could get it, and my 1/10,000th gauge wasn't moving, so I'm going to call that pretty good. I do have two flat spots on here that I'm going to have to address after I get done cutting this down, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start cutting and see kind of where I get. The only bad thing to this guy is, you guys can't see it from this angle, but this hole on the interior, or on the inside diameter of this, is off center. So I don't know how, I'm sure they drilled it, cut the splines, and then they turned the outside somehow, but it's off center. I'm going off the outside diameter and not the inside diameter. So I won't be able to run a steady rest up in here, but this will be fine for what we're going to do. So let's get to cutting here and see what happens. I'll put a little oil in here because I want to see how hard this is. Alright, so that pretty much cleaned it up, and that wasn't much of a cut. Pretty soft stuff. Alright, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little deeper and a little closer to my end here. Alright, now I just have a little, it's nothing more than a 90-degree bit, so I can come in the edge here and just square my end off a little bit, and I'm actually going to twist this guy a little bit so I can get a little better angle on that end. Make sure I clear everything. There we go. Straighten that out just a little bit more too. I want to get as close 90 as I can. I'll probably come back here and cut this guy. Part is done, so I can pull this guy out and start on the pulley. Alright, I flipped this guy around and I have it clamped on the edge here, and it's not really 100% what I'd like to do. I mean, these are aluminum, so you can't clamp down very hard on this, but I'm not taking a very thick cut, and this is the best run out I've gotten so far. So I'll turn on, take a look, and then maybe take a few cuts. You can see how it's the run out. You can see there it's quite a bit better. There's still a little tiny bit, but it's quite a bit better than it was. So I'm going to speed it up and we'll cut a little bit here. There we go, nice finished. Alright, here I'm back at it after a couple days away. Alright, so the next issue I ran into was I was trying to figure out, here's my little bushing I'm going to use. I'm pretty sure this is a hunk of stainless steel. I'm not sure what it was. It was a piece of stainless tubing that I had, and there's some gunk in there, but I got this little guy, and it's actually shorter. God damn it, than my between centers here. So I'm not sure. I gotta rig up something on this side now and figure out how I gotta turn the outside of this guy just a few thousandths. And I wasn't thinking, and because I bored this out a little bit more, if I would have left it, it would have fit over here, but now I'm not. And on my opposite end here, this is a universal live center that you can put different tips in, but I just took the tips off and I'd ride out here on the taper. But I gotta figure out something here, so I'll figure that out and we'll keep rolling. Alright, so I'm back over on the clothing, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bore this guy out to 886, I think it was. I got it written down over here, but I'm just gonna make this a pretty snug slip fit over this guy. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a collet, because it's I believe it'll fit in a 1-inch collet on my south bend. And then I'm going to, well, we'll show you what I hope is going to work. So I'm just going to bore this guy out just a little bit more. Nice, tight slip fit. Alright, so that's done. Alright, suppose I better show you what I'm doing. So I got my piece in my vise here, and I know you're far away, but so I got here is just a center drill in my drill, and I punched it. So I'm just going to center drill. That usually works really good to get a hole started. Then I just got a larger size than what I'm going to need. I'm just going to drill right through it. The bad part about about this is you'll have some burrs in the board here when you're done. But we can work with that. So same thing on my other spot here. And these aren't perfectly the same size as the other holes. All I'm doing here is allowing room for that screw to get down in there. Alright, so I think this is how I'm going to do it. I got my holes drilled, and I got this little guy with a lathe one time. It's a roto center. I don't know what it says. M2 Morse taper 2. Anyways, I think it's a coned. It's tapered, so it's probably for doing pipe or something. But it's got a flat end on it, so I can crank this up, tighten it up really good, and we'll see. Turn my gears off. And there we go. So now what I can do is I can come in here. It's going to be a little tricky. Alright, so I got my parting bit in here because it's so tight, and we're going to see how it works. I probably should choke my bit up a little bit here, but I'm just going to take some super light cuts and we're going to see how it's going to work out here. So I'm just going to crank it on and see kind of a starting point. Right there, zeroed out. I'll come back here. I'm just going to make a super light cut at that 0 all the way across there and see what we get with it. Alright, here is my bench vise, and here's the tricky part, pushing this guy in there. So I gotta line this guy up as best as I can, and I'm not quite sure the best way about going about doing it, other than hoping and praying. And if we screw up, we're screwed. Because we can press it back out, but that'd be a pain in the ass. I'm thinking that looks pretty close. So let's gamble and give it a shot. I don't want to push this guy all the way down in there because a little room at the bottom here. And we got pretty friggin' close. Well, there they are. Not much to look at. A shaft and a new bushing. It's nice and tight. So now we don't have any wobble on there anymore, and I can snug it down tight. Now instead of aluminum to steel, I got steel to steel. I do have a tiny bit of run out on this pulley, but if I would have taken the time to indicate this guy, it would have worked quite a bit better. I would have had 0 run out, but I just kind of threw it up, and I was more or less testing this out to see if I could do it, and I ended up putting way more work into it than I thought I would. So I should have taken the time to indicate this pulley out with probably a 4-jaw or something like that, and it would have turned out a little better, but it's still pretty good. There's a few different ways I could have gone about doing this, and I know a lot of you guys, if you were watching it, were probably thinking, oh, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do that? Well, I thought about 10 different ways to do it, and with the tooling that I had and the time that I had, I figured this was probably the best way to do it, and I don't know if it ended up being the best way to do it, but it worked. I could always come in here with my little milling machine and mill these flats a little bigger, because they're not very big as they are at the moment, but they're enough to put a screw on them. And another thing I might do is I might get some brass plugs to put in there and then back those plugs up with the set screws that are in there from the factory. I think that might be a little better way to do this, but then again, we don't have any slop left in here anymore, so we shouldn't have to worry about these. I can double back it with another screw too to keep that from backing out too. So there we go. I don't know, getting the old drill press running. I'll get this thing back together and show you guys how it's working. I still got to redo the motor yet, but if you guys like that, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Ask me any questions if you have them. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Alright, let's test it out. Pretty dang good. Slight little wobble there, but I think that'll work for what I need it. Job done. Thanks for watching this video. If this is the first time you've checked out one of my videos, please take a minute and stop by my channel and check out all the other videos I have on there. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. So till next time, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping by.